Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here with you again. Although I cannot see you, I hope you can see me, and I hope you can hear me. If you have some problems with sound, just you can write in a comment. I think 2 months ago I didn't switch on the microphone, so I was talking actually, and the other person didn't hear what I was saying. So if you have any problems, please tell me. And here we are in September. In Japan, according to the old calendar, is already autumn, fall, and you can feel it. It's a very beautiful, actually, very beautiful season. Although I like summer here in Japan, most Japanese people hate summer because it's too humid and too hot. And it's quite long. Summer here is quite long, according to, if you compare it with the seasons in Europe or in other countries. But I like summer, and autumn is also really beautiful. Although it's you cannot see colorful leaves yet because it's still too early. I think you can see it in October or November. But the most beautiful thing that I really enjoy every day is that different kind of insects singing in the evening. And it starts at the end of August, where you can actually enjoy, although in August it's sometimes you have to sleep with air conditioning because it's too humid and you are all in sweat. But at the end of August, you can open the windows and you can sleep with your windows open, and it's really beautiful because you can hear the whole symphony of crickets, different kind of insects all around the place. And well, I say insects maybe for some of you or for most of you it sounds like like the image of insect is kind of it's sort of not a good one maybe. But believe me, if you haven't experienced that, it's really beautiful how they sing. And if you go through the forest, if you go through the park in the evening, so you are all this buzzing sound in your ears, very beautiful. So I recently, these two weeks, the thing that I enjoy the most is sleeping in the evening when you go to sleep. Listening to all the beautiful symphony around the window, which is free. You don't have to pay for a ticket. It's just enough to open the window. And it also happens in the morning when we have our early practice early in the morning. So again, you open the windows, and then you can feel you can hear all the beautiful sounds again. And then it's really for I always sort of I didn't have this feeling or this kind of sensation before before I came to Japan. Maybe you have, I don't know. But when you watch Japanese films, for example, Japanese movies or Japanese animation, some people love Japanese animation. So I realized that the presence of different kind of insects like butterflies and all small insects all around the place are they play their role in films. So sometimes you can if you watch very closely, so you don't have only the main characters, protagonists, but you also have the insects flying all around. So and then the nature, the grasses and trees, etc., etc. So then I realized that wow, it's really I think that our kind of Western sensation or how we perceive what is happening all around us is kind of different. And now when I'm here, and as I said, now at the end of summer, the beginning of autumn, you have this beautiful experience too, and it's really nice. I enjoy it a lot. And now, but the thing that I'm looking for most is the 10th of this month, in a few days, where you will see the autumn moon, which is also one of the attractions in Japan, the autumn moon. The autumn moon is called Meigetsu in Japanese, Meigetsu. And it's orange and it's huge, and traditionally many Japanese people went outside with, they were having kind of like picnic watching the moon, which was called tsukimi. And so this month, in a few days, today we have the 6th, I guess. So the full moon is on 10th of this month, and it's going to be a very, very beautiful moon. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yesterday I was walking around the place and I saw in the evening already half of the moon, but it's really big. So it's really, really nice. If you watch, I would like to start today's class with not class, but today's sort of meeting with one question. If you are watching this thing, please write in a comment. What do you think is the biggest obstacle in our practice? Please try to answer the question if you practice, or if you are interested in Zen practice or in Buddhist practice. Please try to answer the question and write in a comment. Although I cannot see now because the screen is far away from me, but I can see. I can read it later. Please take a moment and try to write. What do you think is the biggest obstacle on our path? Okay, can you? It's kind of a little mini test. What is the biggest obstacle in our practice? Okay? I'm not going to tell you the answer now. I will tell you in a moment. Why I'm saying that, or why I'm asking that, because recently I have been reading through one of the old Japanese Zen masters. He is not so well known in the West. His name was Suzuki Shosan. He was a famous Zen master in Edo period in Japan, so 400 years ago. In the West, probably not so famous, but maybe he is, Suzuki Shosan. He was a warrior, he was a Bushi warrior, but then when he was 40, in his 40s, I guess, he became a Zen monk, and he was promoting Zen in the local community. And then once he was sitting with his monks, with his community, and then he asked a similar question, and he said, what is that, he didn't say obstacle, but he said, what is the biggest thing, or what is the most important thing in our practice? He addressed this question to his disciples, to the monks. And then they started to think, and then one of the monks, he raised his hand and he said, oh, I think that the biggest or the most important thing in our practice is the mind of enlightenment, as we say, bodhicitta, so arising or awakening, the mind of awakening, bodhicitta. And then the master said, well, yes, of course, the mind of awakening or the mind of enlightenment, the aspiration to enlightenment, still is really important on in our practice, but still it's not the correct answer. Any other answers? Then he was asking again. And then another monk, he raised his hand and he said, oh, it's wisdom, of course it's wisdom. Without wisdom, it all doesn't make sense. And the master says, yes, well done, of course, you're right. Wisdom is also a very important aspect, and this is the thing that we aspire to develop, to cultivate in ourselves through our practice. So it's really, you're right. But still, I don't mean that. Any other answers? And then there was a third monk, and he said, well, of course, it's compassion. If you have wisdom, if you want to aspire, you have this mind of enlightenment, mind of awakening, of course, is all important, but without compassion, without taking care of others, it all doesn't make sense. And then master again, oh, of course, you're right. Compassion, the aspect of compassionate mind or compassionate heart is really, really important in our practice. So yeah, yes, you're right. But it's not the answer that I'm anticipating. So he was waiting there for their answer. Nobody could answer, and then he said, the most important thing on our path of the practice is heart or mind free from arrogance. So we could turn it the other way around, and we could say the biggest obstacle or the biggest trouble, the thing that we should take care most in our practice is arrogance, the arrogant mind. And I was reading it. I remembered long time ago when I was taking part in one of the lectures of a Tibetan teacher in Europe, and then she was a woman, female teacher, and then she started her lecture with words, with a kind of joke. She says, you know, the people who are most selfish, whom I met, or whom I have been meeting all these years while teaching in Europe, the most selfish people are the Buddhists. She said. The most selfish people are the Buddhists. And then she said, of course, in a sort of joke, as a joke, but when you think about it, and when I was thinking about it, actually it's true. When especially Zen people, sometimes so selfish, sometimes so arrogant. Me myself, sometimes so arrogant. I remember when I started to be interested in the Buddhist practice or in Zen, when I was, I think, 19 or 20, and I came back to my parents' house, and we visited my family. Many people there. The whole family, the typical family gathering, so maybe 30 people sitting around the place and eating cakes and drinking something. And then I remember I sat on the sofa. Probably I already had my head shaved at the time, but I sat on the sofa in a similar position as I'm sitting now. So I said, well, I don't remember if it was half lotus or full lotus position, but I sat kind of like cross-legged, and I was sitting there. Maybe my mom was sitting there, my dad, I don't remember. And then, everyone was sort of making jokes, ha ha ha, and I was kind of sitting aloof. And then I think they made, it was like a birthday, I guess. And then we said, okay, it's time for a toast, yes? And then he said, okay, please, do you want some champagne? And I said, no, I don't drink. Then I said, and then probably my uncle or my aunt, now I don't remember, said like, oh, no, he, now he's the Buddha. No, he doesn't drink. He's not interested in such things. And then I felt like, I didn't say anything, but I felt like, they called me the Buddha. Wow, it feels so nice in your heart, it feels so warm. And I was like, I felt so important at the time. It was like 19 or something. But even the words that someone says to you, and I was like, really, it was not the conscious way of sort of, I didn't realize that I want to sit like this or that, but to some extent, it was the beginning of my practice. I was full of these things, full of these Buddhist things, full of these images, full of Buddha, but at the same time, full of myself. I was so full of myself, and I said that I could sit in a different way, normally like other people on the sofa, but no, I had to sit straight, as they told me somewhere when I heard from some master or someone, and then I was sitting like that and said, no, he's the Buddha, he doesn't drink alcohol. And I felt so nice at the time. I felt so arrogant. So when I started to look for a group with whom I could practice, to tell you the truth, well, it's online and it's not a secret. It will be on the internet all around the place. But anyway, the thing that I really hated the most, or the thing that I really didn't like the most, was the so-called introductory teaching workshops or introductory teaching sort of meetings for people who are interested in Buddhism, or for people who are interested in Zen. So you could feel there were like 20 people already in the club, so they were sitting straight and sort of exchanging jokes that only sort of made sense in the club. So the so-called Zen talk, right? Or Buddhist jargon, or kind of this or tete, this talk or that talk. But the meaning of these talks was only known within the elite, I would say. And I was like half, because I already started to practice, but at the same time I didn't know anything about the practice so much, so I was kind of a beginner too. But then there are many people who were completely green. They were sincerely interested in this religion, or they were sincerely interested in what it is about. Who is Buddha? What is meditation? What is the difference between this religion and other religions? What should I do? And they were bringing up their problems, family problems, personal problems, I don't know, career problems, and they were looking for answer, which was really sincere. But I felt this sort of arrogant kind of atmosphere. It was not something these people were doing on purpose. I believe so. But again, there is such a thing, this arrogant mind within our attitude, so much. And in one of the ancient Zen teachings, in one of the texts says, if you go to a meeting or if you go to a party and there are many, many, many people, and this is not a Buddhist party, this is not a Buddhist or Zen party, it's just a regular party. So you are wearing some clothes, you are wearing a suit, or you're wearing a skirt, whatever. You're wearing some jewelry, maybe some watch, whatever it is. You have nice hairdo, etc. And there are many, many people. And sometimes, even when you don't plan to do that, but when you are wearing a very beautiful suit, or you're wearing a very expensive watch, the first thing that you want to do is to show it, right? So you sort of, without realizing it, you sort of unfold your sleeve, and then, and you talk like that. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 4 o'clock. Oh, still we have 1 hour. And you sort of, you touch it, or you look from time to time, and then you compare what kind of watch your partner has, or maybe, oh, this is Casio, or this is watch, whatever it is. Or, this is Rolex. Oh, okay. And maybe you start to talk about watches. And again, it's the same thing about what you're wearing. You scan other people. But then we very often, which is completely unconscious thing, and then we very often don't realize what other people might think or what other people feel like when they see our attitude. And the Zen master who was giving this example, he said, even if people in ordinary world, who have nothing to do with practice, who just go to the parties, meet other people, they can admonish themselves because they said, oh, maybe that's wrong. Maybe I should sort of correct my behavior. So much more the people who call themselves Zen practitioners, or the people who call themselves Buddhist practitioners, or the people who call themselves spiritual practitioners, etc. So many of us do not realize that we can actually hurt others by how we look, or how we talk, or the sort of our attitude, the attitude that we take. So the teaching says, the master said at the end, if you have a new car, don't ride your new car in front of your poor friend's house. Or if we could say in a different way, if you have a new watch, don't take this watch to a party and sort of show it to others. And this is what we actually most of us do, right? So this arrogance, the arrogant mind. Actually, why I'm talking about that, because I think last month when we had this 2 weeks ago when we had this class, in one of the comments, you can find it on Facebook. In one of the comments, there was a comment. I don't remember who said that, and then the comment said, when I watch these classes, these Zen classes, it makes me think that, or it makes people think that Zen is all about meditation. Of course, Zen is not about meditation, it's true. But there is such a treasury of how we behave, what we do, what decisions we take. So it has nothing to do with meditation, of course, here. It has nothing to do with Zen. We don't have to call it Zen. We don't have to call it Buddhism. We just call it, relationship with others. We don't call it this or that. But sometimes we treat our practice that sort of, we take this meditation, or we take this Zazen, we take the practice itself, as you call it, and we make it into a round thing, nice, soft thing. But then when we finish, we get up from our cushion and we go to the party, or when we go to meet other people, or we talk with our partner, whatever, it all just crumbles down. It has nothing to do with that. So we go back to this samsaric mind. We go back to this egoic mind. And it happens all again. And then again, once a month, we go for example, here we take part in this meeting, or we go to another party, to another Zen meeting or Buddhist meeting, and where we are so inspired. We feel like we are special. We are so elite. We are in the club. We are vegetarians. We have no hair. We wear nice robes. We make nice bows. We have lots of nice things. And our teacher is the best one because he eats only one bowl of rice for 40 years, and he sleeps only 2 hours a day at night. And it's so nice, so nice. And we quote them all around the place, on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. But then, when it comes to meeting with other people, we can be so arrogant. We can be so arrogant. And then we go to sit Zazen. So the Suzuki Shosan, the master that I mentioned, he said, "Oh, you can think, you can be a person of wisdom. You can be very compassionate. You can have tremendously strong mind of enlightenment. But if you're arrogant, you started with arrogance, and after 40 years of practice, you end up with arrogance." So really, this arrogant mind, I see myself so much difficult to uproot, we could say. It's so much difficult to notice, really come back to yourself, or turn back and see what words you say to other people, so that they wouldn't feel bad because of that. Even if it's natural and we don't say anything, you might say, "Oh, but I'm not doing anything wrong. Yes, I'm just myself." But even if you are myself, or the so-called myself, it can actually be painful for others. So when you think about it from this perspective, there is such depth in what we are, or how we relate to others, and the depth of this mind being open, so that we could see, or we could feel, or we could just notice what others feel, how other people see us, and notice how arrogant we can be in this or that place, at this or that moment, is a really big thing to do. And maybe this is what Suzuki Shosan meant when he said, if you have this arrogant mind, it is the biggest obstacle in our practice. No matter what other qualities of your mind you develop, be careful and try to really notice if you are arrogant or not. So, well, it is really an important teaching for me, and I do hope that it's also something important for you to think about when we call ourselves practitioners and we follow this path. But even if you're not practitioners, how we behave, how we treat other people, to what extent we are full of ourselves, right? When we relate to one another. So let it be our guideline in our daily practice, and formal or informal. And with this kind of longish introduction, let me start today's sitting. So if you are sitting in a formal position, so make sure that you are sitting grounded on the floor, if it's the floor. So you can sit in the so-called Burmese position, so you don't have to cross your legs sort of in a complicated way, but you just put them right in front of the other. It may be the easiest, for some people it's the easiest practice. Then if you can go a little bit further, you can put your right foot on the thigh of your left foot. It's called half cross or half lotus position. And then in this position also, you have the feeling that you are really grounded on the floor. You sit straight. Then if you can go a little bit further, you can cross the other leg too. It's called the full lotus position or full cross position. So please sit in a way that is most comfortable for you, so that you can feel this connection between what is underneath you. So you have this base, but at the same time you have the body here, and it leads you to heaven. So you have this connection, heaven, earth. You sit straight. Make sure if your position is effortless. You open your chest. And then you move back your neck a little bit, but don't close your throat. So here again, the throat is open naturally, so you can breathe, you can talk. You don't have to squeeze it so that it obstructs your throat, or you don't do it sort of if it's too extreme, sort of to the back. But it's really naturally straight, so your ears are in the same position as in the same line as your shoulders. And you feel like your stomach is moving in and moving out. And then you put your left hand on your right hand on the level of your navel, below the navel, on the soles of your feet, naturally. Make sure that your armpits are open, so you don't squeeze, but you feel like an eagle, right? Your wings can move here. Okay? And if you are sitting comfortably, let's spend about 25 minutes sitting in silence together. hold your hands together and make a bow. Then put your hands on your knees and make a few movements from left to right before you stand up. All right. So thank you for joining today's class, September, and then next one will take place in a month on the 4th of October on Tuesday. At the same time, 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. Japanese time. If you have about an hour of free time, please join us. And if you have any comments or if you have any questions, you can share it in a comment place or through email. So feel free to do it. Thank you for joining. And remember, don't pass in front of your poor friend's house in your new Rolls Royce. Okay. Thank you very much for joining and have a nice day. Thank you.